Hello, everybody. Good morning from both Apollo and I. I hope that your week is getting off to a great start. We're going to be taking a look at your monthly forecast. You can use this for your sun, your rising, your moon, your Venus, any aspect of your chart that you happen to know. So good to see you. If it's the first time that you've seen me since last month, welcome to my new space. I really love it here. I think you will as well. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to put Apollo down so we can begin. And good to see everybody. All right, so you could see just a moment ago, here's the format for today. I always like to just review this so that expectations are set, but we begin with channeled messages which come from spirit meditation and the research that I do before I begin, and then we'll get into the cards, and I'll break this down a little bit more as we get closer to each and every section. A couple of quick notes before I begin. If you'd like to join me on social media, here are all my handles. Periodically someone impersonates me. It seems like it's once a week or a couple times a month. Right now there's someone on TikTok, so if anyone sends you an invitation, says there's a special reading or something like that that they'll offer you, big flag. On social media, that's not how I work. The only way to interact with me live is right here through a YouTube live or an Instagram live or a TikTok live. So if my mouth isn't moving and we're not in real time, that's not me, okay? I'd love for you to become a part of the sort of family here. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're really close to a milestone, maybe about 700 or 800 subscribers away. So once I hit that next milestone, which is I think 325, then I will do a Q&A reading whenever that happens. Like within that week, I'll schedule an extra reading. So let's make that happen, and we'll do something fun with that. And then I'll post something on the community tab so we can look at some questions. Also, if you'd like to show some love and support in real time, you can do that through SuperStickers, Super Chat, or membership. There is also an option to be a Patreon supporter if you'd like as well. All right, so let's get into today's channeled messages, and then we'll talk a little bit more about format and everything else as we get into the rest of the reading. Okay, so today, as I was meditating, as I was actually walking the dog this morning, the image that kept popping into my head was that of a mountain. And mountains are beautiful symbols for growth and movement, and very much present even in tarot. A lot of times you will see this illustrated on the Ten of Wands in particular. We'll see someone climbing up a hill, getting to the next stage of the journey. So we're going to be looking at both of these because a volcano can also be a mountain. So I wanted to kind of cover the energy of both. So doing research on this and remembering back in college, I actually took a few elective courses in geology because in addition to the stars, I'm fascinated by how the planet works. And I took a lot of electives in it too. I just really got interested in it for whatever reason. But I remember that mountains can be formed by a lot of different processes. So we have here a few of them, like folding, faulting, volcanic activity, a bunch of other things we don't need to worry about. Suffice it to say, though, that they are basically the earth moving its energy from one space to another. And what we see there is a vestige of that change. A vestige, a fancy word for remnant. Kind of think of like the ruins in Rome, right, by the Colosseum. So these mountains were thrust up, pushed into place, millions of years ago, and we can still see them. Some of them are actively building up like a volcano. And so they remind us how change can actually be really impactful and long-lasting. And sometimes the act of going through that change or getting up that mountain can seem insurmountable or a little bit unnerving. But the mountains are coming through to say, but it's worth it. It's something that's going to really kind of take you to that next level. Figuratively speaking, but also on the earth, that's what happens. It's a new vista, right? It's also a reminder for us to change our perspective. So here we have a really cool Ten of Wands from the Lightseer's deck where we see that the build-up, all that work that you had to do also means that there's a payoff and things will eventually get easier. And that's what this card is reminding you of as well. You can either see the road ahead as a burden or as an opportunity for growth, for development, and for that nice coasting phase that eventually will happen as well. Get some space. We talked a little bit about this, I believe, in the weekend. If not, then it might have been on Friday. But the Eight of Wands is a card, not the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Cups is a card that allows us to just sort of clear our mind for a little bit. It probably was Friday's reading, but let's talk about that for a minute here. Sometimes we are so kind of like in the weeds, in the moment, in the mix of what's going on, that we need to get out. We need to explore. And so this 10 of Wands is a way to do that as well. It can show travel for work. It can show travel in general. 6 of Swords and the 8 of Cups are all cards that are saying, I need a little bit of space. I need to see what's out there. So perhaps before you make that next big move or that next big decision, you need to sort of like dip your foot in the water and see what else is out there. Change your perspective. This could change your mind. Don't let your fears or anxieties build up a rocky path that may not otherwise exist. A lot of times, this is just, it's normal. It's human nature sometimes to just think about worst case scenarios, but what we want to try to do is elevate the thoughts. For those of you that joined on the weekend, and if you didn't, it's available for replay, and you get the whole week forecast, so you should look at the weekly forecast. But we talked about the High Priestess and how basically in real time, if you're really tuned in, your thoughts start to manifest. So when you catch yourself in one of those moments of thinking, this is going to take a long time, or I'm not ready, or I'm not this or that enough, rephrase it and think, I'm ready to see this shift happen. I'm finally prepared to make this kind of a movement, and why can't I? So I really want you to move into challenging the universe to sort of like show you the possibilities rather than to basically show up and reiterate the fears, okay? The hardest step is usually the first step. If you can get that first step out of the way, things start to just kind of take on their own momentum. So focusing on the volcanoes, they are creative and destructive forces. A necessary piece to shaping this earth. There are a few different things actually on this planet that make it so interesting. One is the weather, the fact that we have natural erosion that breaks things down, that there's evaporation, and basically things come back down to the surface so plants can grow, etc. So that's one element of change. We have plate tectonics that literally move land masses around, fold continents under other continents, and create change. And we also have volcanism, volcanoes, and geological formations. The earth is constantly moving. It may look like it's just sitting still, but from the inside out, from the fact that it's spinning, from the fact that the moon is pulling the ocean tides, there's movement everywhere. And there's creative and destructive forces on this planet. What we see right now won't look this way in 100, 1,000, or 1,000,000 years. This place never is the same, right? So it's a reminder that we too must kind of lean into that energy of change and movement. Let any sort of illusions or fears fall away and break through the barriers that you or others have tried to construct as a form of protection. There's an old Police or Sting song, I can't remember if he did it when he was solo, but he talks about building a fortress around his heart. I think it was his first or second solo album, but for those of us that have been building fortresses around our lives to protect ourselves, they serve a purpose, they have a time and they have a place, but we need to kind of put the drawbridge down, let the moat dry out, and explore the world around us. And that's really what this energy was showing me in this moment in time. Release and balance is going to be the sort of interesting dance that many of you might be trying to dance this month. The volcano energy is a reminder that there has to be an equilibrium. So when too much pressure builds up, it's going to find a way out, either through the vents or it'll blow its top sometimes. So I put 2 cards that would indicate your opportunities this month. The 2 of Pentacles is what you're aiming to do. Find the perfect balance, let certain things go, embrace things that are worth it. But it usually means that something's needing a little bit more and something's needing a little bit less. So find that balance. The 10 of Swords is what we want to avoid, but sometimes it happens anyway. The 10 of Swords can be spilled words, lost temper, being burned out, getting sick. There's a lot of different ways your body or your life can kind of have that explosion to slow you down, to make you reset. So one is mindful and one is a choice, and the other one is the universe just saying, we're going to do this. The one before it is the same way too. The Tower and the 10 of Swords. You have no choice but to move in a different direction when you go through one of those. So be mindful. You don't have to go through either of those. You can surf the energy of change. You can choose the direction that you want to go in, or you can simply say enough is enough. Because the Ten of Swords is a full stop. You don't have to actually spill the words or experience the pain to understand that you're at that end point. You just have to say, okay, we're done now, on to the next, okay? If there's something that you need to constructively communicate, this is a time to communicate that and get it off your chest. So many of you may be waking up, starting to hear a call, and the call is a figurative sort of thing, not necessarily your phone ringing, although it could be a phone call that could change your life. But for many of us, we have a moment in our life. It could be loss of a job, it could be loss of a parent, it could be a health scare, something that comes through and it kind of rocks your world and it makes you realize that used to be important, but it isn't. This is incredibly more important now, so much so that I'm willing to try this at any cost. My encouragement for you is to not wait until one of these previous moments, a Tower or a Ten of Swords, because the universe today for you is bringing through this message that you know what you need to do. You know that there's something that is going to make you happier, more fulfilled, or more connected. Let's answer that call. It can be a little bit scary or unnerving at first, but it can also be really exhilarating. Think of like a first date or a first interview or trying something like the first day after you graduate or something. It's basically question marks, unknown, but like all these possibilities. So it's fun. We don't get a lot of points in our life where, the sky's the limit. So let the sky be the limit right now. Answer that call and see where it leads, okay? It's a new cycle and it's a reset. One thing to remember with this is that you are not on repeat. This is a moment of awakening. We are waking up right now. We've been in a 2-year sort of reset cycle, and the world is changing rapidly, and this is a chance for you to enter into a new cycle and not repeat. So do something different with this moment in time. We'll look at the cards and we'll see where it's leading you, but that's the general note there. Everything that we've been talking about is basically underlining that it is worth the climb, it is worth the journey. And the thing that we want to focus on is what you're trying to manifest. That is a carryover from this weekend's collective that I just did. So focus on the success, the health, the wealth, the love, whatever it is that you're trying to bring into your life, and see everything else as something that feeds or helps focus in on that manifestation. This is going to help you feel empowered. This is going to help you feel less anxious and hopefully more excited about what the world and what the universe has to offer for you, okay? So let's get into the forecast. I'm just going to choose a deck today just because I'm still getting all of my stuff unpacked. I want to use the Afro Goddess deck. We haven't used it in a while, and I was drawn to a couple cards that I saw this weekend. So let's begin, everyone. Let me just focus the camera here, and we're going to get into the Celtic Cross for the next 6 to 8 weeks. A reminder that towards the end, I'll focus a little bit more in on not health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll do that, of course, but also the sun, rising, and moon signs. So if you happen to be cross-watching for one of those, we'll have a chance to kind of focus in on all of that in a little bit. All right, let's give the cards a good shuffle. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you. For those of you that are just joining, the way that this works is you'll get messages right here and right now, especially stuff that we're going to see in this area, and then someone's saying that they're going to review this in the future. That's also good. I always put in timestamps, so it's intended to be watched when it's released and then also as the month progresses. It's not an either or, it's a both, and it'll be easy for you to come back and look at certain parts of this a little bit later. So let's zoom in again and get this laid out appropriately. There we go. There's the judgment card, an environment actually, and there's the call that's being sent to you. So nice to be able to do this in a quiet environment, and at a normal time. It really helped reset my energy. So happy to be here again with all of you and without any sounds of construction in the background. It was worth the climb for me as well. You can't make it up when we're looking at cards here. So say yes to your higher calling. We have the Judgment card, which is all about the call, and I just talked about it in the channel messages. So definitely some nice synchronicities coming through from Spirit there. Okay, let's begin, folks. This is one of my favorite cards in the, I think it's, what is this called? The Alchemy deck, I believe here. But let's talk a little bit about this. This is beautiful. So we have the box, but if you look at the box kind of on an angle, and when it starts to play tricks with your eyes, it's actually a pyramid, right? Or it could be a portal that you're looking through. So one of the things that we want to remind ourselves of is to think ourselves out of a box. Sometimes we think this can only happen this way, this can only happen at this time, I'm only this or that. These boxes, these labels, while they may serve a purpose and why they may seem sort of like, like we need them in certain points of our life, they don't actually serve us in the long run. And so you're being asked on some levels to just release the boxes, the labels, the things that you've kind of put yourself into. And instead, this reminds me of the pyramids at Giza. And the sort of, back when they were built, fun fact, they were actually covered in, I believe, like white plaster, and I think they were painted over top of as well. And then they had these beautiful diamonds or crystals at the top. Still figuring out what they were, whether they were power plants or, something of that nature. But what we see here is the ability to focus your energy in one place and one really element that's going to allow for things to open up. So focus on what matters. See yourself as a conduit for power. See yourself as the magician, channeling inspiration and bringing something into practice in this planet at this time. But the main thing is you are more than what people told you were. So you have more capacity than you could ever imagine. So let's just take the lid off. And like a volcano blowing its top, it's time to restart. It's time to rebuild. Going to the center card, we have the Page of Wands. She's reversed. Let's talk about her first, and then we'll go to the rest. So with the Page of Cups in reverse, we are seeing that this is a moment for you to really pay attention to your emotional state. Have you been sort of working yourself so hard that cup is upside down, where you feel like I'm on empty? I've been supporting my parents or my friends or my coworkers to a degree that I just don't have anything left to give. So for some of you, it's time to simply recharge your batteries. Do something you love. Watch something on TV, go to a movie, go to the park, take a trip, read a book, take a class, it doesn't matter. Something where your heart feels, yes, this is good, yes, this is for me, I'm doing something for myself. And these two cards work together in that respect here. So we have Page of Cups reversed, and then we have the King of Pentacles, which is the paternal card in the sort of court cards. Queen and King of Pentacles are like mother and father, their house and home. They're nurturing their prosperity, and it's basically the parenting energy. Sometimes we have to do that for ourselves. Maybe like me, you don't have any living parents. Maybe your parents weren't there or aren't there for you. Maybe you just need to take care of yourself because everyone else is busy. Suffice it to say, the important thing for you is to nurture yourself, and particularly the emotional side of yourself. Page of Cups in reverse also says, I am discerning and picky. If it doesn't fit my criteria, if it's not good enough, then I am not going to compromise on something. This is not saying that you are so picky that you're turning everything down. It's saying, I'm not going to accept something because I'm afraid of being alone or because I'm afraid this is the only thing. I'm going to take it because it's the right step. I'm going to connect with that person because they're the right person. Because we're both in a place where we can support and give and nurture. So feels like some healing is necessary and you don't want to jump into anything until that healing has been done, okay? So those are the main messages here. Yes, love may be knocking on the door for some of you that are single and looking, but you have to be ready and you have to heal internally first. So make sure that you are absolutely ready for some great stuff, including relationships. So take care of your heart now. That's the important thing. We have the God or the King of Pentacles here. What a great card to be crossing the center. It's saying once you've got your heart in check, then the world is literally kind of knocking here on the door here with opportunities. This is the equivalent of having a green thumb when it comes to your finances or to anything that you want to put your time and energy into. Forget the Midas touch, because that was actually a little bit of a curse if you look into the mythology of it. A green thumb is good. That means everything you're touching is growing, and that's really what I see with this energy right now. So we see your finances getting ready to take a step in the positive. Let's just quickly look at the cards, and then I'll dig a little deeper when I go into wealth. But we have the Nine of Pentacles, which you've been building for yourself, that energy of self-sufficiency. We have some external recognition coming in here, and we have an offer on the horizon here. You definitely get to be discerning this month. This is you weighing it and saying, does my heart feel good about it? And this one is you saying, I'm not going to do something that I don't feel like I don't want to do. So you get to choose, you know what to do. And that choosiness and that pickiness is going to be really important to avoiding repeating history, something we talked about earlier. So with this card, it's a very independent card next to like the Emperor, for instance. So if there is something with money or business, you should have deciding say in how it factors out, how it looks, etc. Okay? But it's good. We're looking at this at a really positive energy. Mostly here you have to have a little bit of an emotional reset, but then I see a lot coming through with respect to resources, money, career, and other developmental energies. Let's go into your deep past. If you happen to be watching me live, the Nine of Pentacles could actually be playing out right now because we're looking into the future. And since this is like 1.5 months in the future, a lot of this stuff is happening now. Nine of Pentacles says, I value myself to a degree that I don't need the validation of others. I'm okay working occasionally in a vacuum without knowing what others think, because I know myself, I trust myself, and I trust the quality of this work. I am independent. It's not always just about the money and the riches, which this card can represent. It's also about the understanding that I'm worth it and I'm attracting this, and it's the long journey towards this. So the snail is missing from this, but it's always a part of the card. And even just the fact that things take time to grow. Look at how tall those vines and trees are around her. For any of you that garden or any of you that have ever planted a tree, you know that takes a long time. So this work that you're doing now will pay off in the long run. And there's this internal understanding and recognition that, yes, this is why I'm doing it. Yes, it's worth it. I'm not going to give up. Not today. No siree. Okay? So stay really strong and clear and concise on your goals, and they will pay off in the long run. The card is upright, so there's really nothing negative to say about it. I would say there is always an opportunity with the Nine of Pentacles to look for one more external resource, because it is such a fiercely independent card. Partnering up can actually help. Asking for help can actually speed things up. So things don't have to take as long as they are if you're open to external assistance. That is a decision you can make. It isn't necessary, but there's always an opportunity. It's a 9, it's not a 10, so there's still some room for growth. And the reason it's a 9 is because it's closed off a little bit, even though it's an amazing card, and I would take it any day of the week if I had a single card pull. All right, looking at recent past, also some things that are going to be filtering into whenever you happen to watch this reading. It's a really good time for you to get out and mix and mingle and meet people. Three of Cups is a fantastic card for new beginnings in your life. It represents a celebration, an opening, people being more receptive to you and what you have to offer. By and large, it's a great card. One thing that it can also represent is maybe putting too much weight in what other people have to say, or looking at one comment, review, or listening to one point of feedback and allowing it to either elevate you too much or deflate you too much. Take everything with a grain of salt. Everyone has an opinion. and we need to just let some things roll off our back like rain, right? And try to take the good with the bad and try to just really have a good time. This card is about enjoying yourself and being present and celebrating all the little victories along the way. It's not just about the ultimate or penultimate steps, before graduating or before achieving. It's every little day that you're doing something that is bringing you closer to that goal. Celebrate it. Do something fun. Be present, okay? New love could be coming into your life. For those of you that are single and looking, we're getting a lot of earth energy here throughout the spread. And we also got an indication here with the Two of Cups that this is a great time to meet new love. If it is new love, it has a past life connection. So we're pulling in a karmic or a soulmate, a karmic partner or a soulmate partner. So Three of Cups here is saying this would probably happen in a social setting, in a casual sort of thing. You don't have to necessarily be swiping on the dating apps to find someone. This is about being out. So definitely accept those invitations. Get out there if you're trying to find someone. We'll talk more about relationships if you're already in one. This is really just social activity. So this is a time to get out there in the community and with your friends. The biggest challenge for many of you is trusting yourself. This actually is deciding when it's reversed. It's indecision when it's upright, and it's saying, I have two choices in front of me. I don't know which one to take. They're shades of gray. They both have opportunities. When it's reversed, it's saying, I know myself and I know the opportunity well enough to just take a shot at this, or take a stab, because we're looking at swords here. You'll notice here that there is night and day, and this is about moving into the known from the unknown. You always have two swords whenever you have any of the twos here, any of the deuces. So the Two of Swords is saying, I'm letting go of one and I'm focusing on the other, because if I keep holding these two, I'm not going to go anywhere. So let's just put one down, or delegate one, or choose one. Two of Swords, Two of Pentacles require choice. Two of Cups, Two of Wands, not so much. But this one, you need to make a choice, and you need to trust your choice. And you already know. You know what to do. I'm looking at the environment, and someone else is getting into your head. Someone else said something, and they're like, I don't know, have you thought about this? Or I heard this about this. And there's something that got in the way of what you already decided, because judgment is on a soul level saying, I know. Or it's already been divinely decreed. I just need to walk up that staircase. Look at how nicely connected. These are different decks, by the way. I'm using a Wild Unknown Oracle deck, and I'm using the Afro Goddess deck. But look at the staircase. Look at the steps. Look at the steps towards the light. Both of them leading up to the light. So you just need to take the step. The first step, the next step, the final step. You're in the right direction. Someone's getting into your headspace a little bit. Let's tune them out. You can't ignore stuff. The other thing with the Two of Swords is it comes in as a little bit of a wake-up call. So if there's something going on with respect to health or a friendship or work, and you need to talk about it, you need to talk about it. And the Two of Swords is saying the sooner that you deal with it, the better. So that would be the main piece of advice there, especially if it's your health. If there's something that's just not where it should be, go and talk to a doctor and make sure that you understand why, how, etc. All of this is happening, and education is going to be the key. It'll take away the fear. We don't have any quote-unquote darker cards here. If we look here, there's no Tower, there's no Ten of Swords, there's nothing here that I'm really worried about. So I think the main thing for you to do is just to talk and get the information. Education is power. Education is going to clear out the fear and the anxiety. All right, looking at the near future, we have the Nine of Cups. Two of the best celebrating cards here. Some of you have a lot to celebrate. There might be two events this month. You might be trying to choose between which event to go to. Interestingly enough, if we look at the direction of the swords towards this, there is one that's better here, the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is the one that you feel most connected to. This is the one that people are pressuring you to go to, because this is peer pressure. So follow your heart and follow what brings you to the highest energy. It'll be the easiest decision internally to make. This can be mom, dad, coworker, friend pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do. Go to what you want to if you're trying to choose between two things. The Nine of Cups is also extremes. Both of these are extremes. In emotions, they can be emotional highs. They can also be emotional lows. And we have a card here showing that there's a lack of balance here. So there could be a lot going on where emotionally you just feel like, I need some assistance dealing with all of this. So ask for help. We all go through moments where there's a lot of stress When I was moving, I knew I couldn't do it alone. I had professional movers. Next time I'll get professional packers, because the most difficult thing is actually packing and unpacking. I'm 1 week into, today I was moving a week ago, and I have maybe now 30% of the boxes left. I got through like 70%. But it takes a lot of time and energy. And people were asking, like, where's the amethyst? It's out here now, by the way. I'm like, these things are in boxes, folks. Give me a chance to unpack, right? So give yourself time. If you need time and help, ask for time and help. And if people are pressuring you, tell them to mind their own business. But what I do see with this is, for many of you, focusing on the silver lining is going to be really helpful. This is a silver lining card. So if there's something that didn't go quite the way you anticipated, but you see something good coming out of it, that's going to help you manage through that sort of stress or that development or that change. Let's move on to, I'm sure what a lot of you saw when I pulled all the cards out, which is the Two of Cups, and it's coming through to represent self this month, ego, how people are perceiving you. What a great card to come through if you are indeed looking for love. Again, a reversal on this, just like we saw with the Daughter of Cups. So one thing that's going to be really important is, as a mantra, I would try to fashion something in this form. I am worth love, all the love and abundance that I receive. I'm open to love and abundance in the highest forms. I am ready to receive the bounty that the universe wants to bring to me, because it's knocking, it's offering, but there's a little bit of hesitation coming. And if you're in a relationship, the love and abundance could be something different. It could be support, in work. It could be additional friends, community support. It could be positive reinforcement and attention. Whatever it is, there is love that wants to come forth this month, and you have to be open and ready for that in order for it to come in. The universe isn't going to force it into your life. So that's what we're seeing with these cards here. The other thing that I see with the Two of Cups here is that sometimes a relationship can kind of take on this bigger than life energy, because we see the cups almost dwarfing the couple here. So when I was talking about balance this month, one of the things that you want to try to remember is that you're not going to lose yourself in a relationship or in a bigger task. You always need to sort of find and keep your energy in check, okay? But yes, love could be coming in, and we're getting a lot of indication that for many of you, this could be in the form of a really successful person. It could be an earth sign, and I get a connotation or a connection between past life energy here as well because of the Judgment card. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to focus on for the Two of Cups. One last thing, look at how they are joining hands and looking each other eye to eye. If you have any key conversations or negotiations that you want to make this month, face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact is going to be amazingly beneficial. It's not always possible. And this, you can use telepresence as well. FaceTime constitutes face-to-face. But being able to read somebody's nonverbal cues and really being able to look them in the eye is going to be essential. So virtual counts, but better that than a text, an email, or a traditional letter. Not many people do that anymore anyway. Definitely not even like voicemail. I would say you need to be able to talk in real time if you can for an important conversation. And that's one thing that drives me nuts, is when people purposely won't pick up the phone, but they'll sit there and text you nonstop. It's sort of like, we could resolve this in a minute on the phone rather than tapping all of this out. And it's probably because I'm in a generation that came into cell phones and texting, but it wasn't the only way. So I really like voice and I like face in the communication, because it naturally brings the energy into a calmer space. It immediately gives you reinforcement on what's going on. And if you have to choose voice over text, I would say voice is still better than text, because you hear how they sound. You can catch a sigh when they're talking. You can see like I'm pushing them too much, or you can hear a smile in their voice. Because when you smile, this is one of the things that I learned when I was studying film and broadcasting, it actually brightens up the tone a little bit versus a frown. So smiling, you can actually hear it in the tone. So definitely try to connect either with face and voice or just voice if you have to make a choice. And that's going to help you avoid the Ten of Swords moments we talked about earlier, okay? And again, this is an important note for a lot of my younger viewers that watch that have only grown up with devices and Snapchat and Facebook Messenger. No one uses that if they're younger, but Instagram Messenger. Like, this is not the way to have a deep and meaningful conversation or a really difficult conversation. You have to have the real face-to-face stuff. It's going to make sure that what you're saying is really being received. Okay. Next, looking at the environment, we have judgment reversed. So this is peer pressure and peers in general. This is disapproval or lack of understanding or a desire to have you do something that you don't want to do. You know what you need to do. Some of you are at a crossroads here, because the Two of Swords is like the Two of Wands. You have a chance to choose the direction that you want to go in. So you either get to choose pressure or purpose and passion. Choose purpose and passion over the peer pressure, for those of you that are facing that. Other things that this can represent is just an inner knowing. It's time, or I need to do this. And maybe you're not even getting that external stuff and you want it. You're not always going to get the validation that you need when you go down a new path. When I decided to do what I'm doing now, I didn't tell people and I didn't ask for permission because I knew that most people wouldn't understand it. And I just decided to do it and find, just really bring my A game and do the best that I could do. And then once things were taking on their own sort of energy and momentum, people don't care. They're just happy. They're like, are you happy? Are you doing well? Are you able to take care of yourself? Okay, good for you. Because I don't make a big deal of it, and I don't honestly care what people think anymore. It's okay. If you can kind of do your thing in your life that way, career, relationship, course of study, and just do it because it's what you want to do and because you know you're going to do a good job at it and it's going to make a lasting impact or impression on the world or the community around you, then you will naturally attract people that support you, and you will win over people that didn't even think that it was the right thing initially. So your judgment matters most. As I throw the judgment card across the room here. Your judgment matters most, and you answering that call is the most important piece here, okay? So you're going to be fine. Whatever it is you're trying to embark upon, you have my support. You have the cards and spirit's support. All you need to do is give it your support. Whatever it is that you want to try. And whatever it is that you know you need to do, this is confirmation that yes, it's time. Now is the time to do it. Not tomorrow, not next week, not 10 years from now, not when you retire. It's time to start making that next step today. As I said, the first step is the hardest, but it's often the most important. This can also have to do with legal or sort of like political or career sort of things where, again, there may be someone who just isn't in your corner. Now, if that's the case, it's time to move on. If you have a boss or a leader who doesn't have your back, if they're doing something wrong, that's something completely different. You can try to change the system if you want to, but more often than not, if you don't have an advocate and you have to be there, why be there? That was one of the things that helped me leave my last living situation, when I realized that I couldn't communicate with management. I really don't want to put much energy into talking about it, but basically complaints or feedback wasn't listened to. And in fact, they said you could leave. And I thought to myself, you're right. And it was easy then. I thought, yes, why don't I leave? That's the universe speaking. We talked about this on the weekend. If someone says something, especially if it's something you don't want to hear, a lot of times it's the universe coming in. It was a change I needed to make. If you're not happy, you're free to go. Fair enough. And a lot of times we hear that from bosses too, right? There's 10 people lining up for your job behind you. If you don't want this, you don't have to stay. So what you want to do in that case is say thanks for your feedback and find a plan B and a plan C. Get your net in place. Don't jump without the net. But you've now got your answer. I know that this isn't for me, and I know that they don't care. And that's okay, because that frees me. That's the universe saying, there's something better waiting for you out there. Don't waste your time here, okay? So for those of you that are getting sort of like pushback, that's okay. It's okay. It's actually the universe helping you look in different directions, okay? All right. Looking at what's coming through now. We looked at the environment. Now we're looking at hope spheres and opportunities. Things are going to move quickly. I keep seeing the Knight of Swords coming through reading after reading after reading in a pivotal place. I believe when I was doing the 7-day forecast for this particular week, it was around Wednesday. But I've been seeing this pop up a lot as I've been looking at both the September and August readings. So with the Knight of Swords, this is your chance to really see things fly here. We see someone almost on a magic carpet in the sky, right? And she's declaring that sword like, let's do this. It's almost like a charge energy. So take charge, announce your intentions, continue to push forward, especially when other people are not, and you're going to see momentum pick up. But it is a direct result and a direct sort of reaction to your own investment and your own sort of push in this momentum, okay? And as we look at your outcome card, we have a lovely Page of Pentacles. And this is kind of like a call and answer. This would be the call, this is the answer, because you're really putting that energy out and it's coming pretty quickly here. And the only thing that can kind of mess up the frequency is this, the Page of Cups in reverse. So you have to feel like you deserve it and you're ready and willing to kind of get look at these two pages, they're looking at each other. So this is what I have to give to you. Are you ready to receive it? Yes, I am. So you just need to believe and accept and embrace what the universe wants to bring. There is a new opportunity knocking. So if where you're at isn't what you want, there's something better. If who you're with doesn't feel right, there's something else out there. You're not stuck at all this month. It's just an acceptance and a preparedness for something newer and better to come in. All right, I'm going to take a quick drink here and then we're going to move into the expanded forecast. The expanded forecast is going to give us some additional energy and insights into health, wealth, love, and destiny. Before I begin the health message, I always like to remind folks that we're looking at energy here. So if there is anything specific going on with mental health or physical health, you of course want to work with the professional for that, but I'm going to try to help you make the best choices that you can to open up the doors in your life that you can. All right, let's get into the cards now and see what's coming through for your health card. So we have the crow. I love crows and ravens, actually. They're messengers from beyond. Co-create with spirit. So spirit is finding new ways to communicate with you. And it could be in dreams. It could be on the radio as you're driving in the car. You turn to a station and you hear a message, whether it's music or talk radio, public radio, whatever. The same way that we can shuffle cards and pull a card out of the deck, when we're going across the dial and we find something, it's the same thing. Spirit's finding the channel, literally, to communicate with you, and it's saying, hey, I have something I want you to think about. It could be a voice or it doesn't have to come disembodied. This, like I said, it could be someone in your life that says something profound, almost like it's not their words. It may not be. It could be spirit whispering through them. So spirit's finding new ways to co-create, to communicate with you, and it's trying to lead you into a better path. This is, to me, about resurrecting something or resuscitating something, because I look at carrion crow as a chance for you to sort of breathe life into something that maybe you have put on the back burner. So what is it that you haven't spent a lot of time and energy investing in or exploring that your heart really wants you to do? This is your chance to sort of go there. Let's specifically look at the cards and get some additional insights, okay? So health-wise, whenever I get 2 of Swords or 8 of Swords, and it's been coming up, I feel like every other reading in a specific space for health. Lots of 2s, lots of 8s. This is about making sure, if you haven't gotten your annual eye exam, to get that, get your hearing checked. It's usually eyes and ears, but it can also be avoiding anything in your body that you don't want to see or feel. You got to take care of it. So get your appointments with all your various doctors and get that stuff sorted out. It's a good time to cut back on excess. So if you've been thinking of stopping something, drinking, smoking, eating a certain type of food or junk food, this is a good time to do it because there's a lot of excess energy between the between the 9 and the 3 of cups here. So this is specifically, they both can be drinking, but it can be overeating, overdrinking, and just overindulging. And this card in general is one not known for its its balance. So all 3 of these are saying don't go overboard. It can also be, by the way, overworking, because this is a card of resource. So spending too much, eating too much, working too much. We want to avoid all of that. It's usually, what is it doing? It's covering up something else, an emotional scar. Deal with this, and this stuff goes back into balance. Some of you have a wake-up call or a close call with something in your health. I see a positive outcome with that. This is just to get you on a better path. Lean into friendships. It seems like one of the things that wants to come through is love and relationships this month. Whether you're looking for love or you're already partnered up, this could be reconnecting with someone from the past. You could have a good chat with an old college friend or an old neighbor or an ex or someone in your life that you just haven't talked to in a long time. And you just find that there's so much more in common that you have now because maybe a decade or 2 has passed and there's a lot of water under the bridge. But relationships can give you this sense of like a life preserver or a lifeboat. And you're going to feel a sense of it's going to be okay because you have a collective history. The history is key. Talking to someone that's been through what you've been through or comes from the same background that you do, that'll really help you in the situation because you'll trust in their experience. Okay? And that's pretty much it, folks. I think that it's a overall great spread for the health. There's just a little bit of you finding balance, which we talked about way back at the beginning. And some of you are opening up to your spiritual connection. Cards like Judgment, Death, and the Star indicate a close connection or a portal that's been opened up between you and Spirit. So listen to what it's saying. And that kind of goes back into the crow that we were talking about. It's finding different ways to talk to you, including the birds. One of the coolest things is it's going to take probably a week for them to find it, but I have another kind of office space just next to this room, and I put a hummingbird feeder outside of that, so I can't wait to see the hummingbirds come through. To me, those are really high-frequency, positive energies. Whenever I see them on a walk, it's Spirit saying, chin up, look at the positive. So I wanted to pull the birds closer to me. So if you have a certain bird that comes through, this is also a nod that, yes, that's a message from Spirit. Okay? Great energy overall with health. Let's take a look now at wealth. We have the deer. And the deer I actually associate with the 4 of Pentacles, in part because I use a deck a lot that has a little doe or fawn sort of in the 4 Pentacles. And I think I want to say it might be the Wildwood deck maybe. But anyway, the important thing here is there's a shyness or a timidness with the deer, and because it's coming through in the financial sector, it's saying let's not do anything too hasty and let's not do a knee-jerk reaction. And I think it's a really appropriate totem to come through for wealth because of just sort of like how inconsistent our financial world is right now. Almost globally, we're all going through inflation. Things cost more than they have ever before. Currencies are not stable. There could be recession sort of energy on the horizon, and there's just a lot of question marks. So what we don't want to be afraid of, because this is about releasing fear and not giving energy to all the things that I just talked about. This is saying I'm going to do the 9 of Pentacles, long, slow, and steady build towards success. There are certain things that I know will always help me. Training, knowledge, good quality manufacturing, good quality in whatever product, service, etc. that you're putting out there. Looking for long-term development and gain, not short-term gains. So really focusing on the long-distance run, not the sprint, is going to help you out right now. And if there's something that you don't have comfort in, don't do it. This isn't a time to do something where you are afraid, where you don't have enough knowledge or you're not prepared, okay? So the deer is saying, take it slow, take it steady, don't get nervous, and if there's anything that's volatile, this isn't the time to put it into the volatile stuff. We need to do something that is going to protect all this sort of hard work that you've done, right? And that's what I see there. Let's look specifically at some of the general wealth cards. A change could do you good, to quote Sheryl Crow, a song from the 90s or early 2000s. So we have the Judgment card in reverse. So many of you already know the time has come. It's something else that you want to do, somewhere else that you want to be, and this is saying, absolutely. Some of you do not feel seen or heard. This is also going to factor into relationships, because sometimes we're working for people that we love, like if you're working in a family business. But some of you right now are just feeling like, I am not being seen. There's a glass ceiling here. I can't see my way to the next level. The good news is, once you decide to do something else, if we look at the diagonal here, deep past, near future, outcome, it's good stuff. The universe is just waiting for you to say, enough with this, and now more of this. Let me see what else is coming through here. You definitely, someone was talking about being their own boss. Yes, absolutely. Amen to that. If you're ready for it, this is showing that you have the capacity to build and to create. This is showing that you can do it, and this is other people being interested in it. Your passion is actually one of the most attractive forces here. So let's give Apollo a little love while we're talking. Hey, buddy. Your attraction and your sort of passion to the path is going to be really important. I know, you want to say hi. He gets a little impatient sometimes when I do my readings. So the more you can connect with it, the better, and the more that other people are going to be attracted to that as well. There could also be something that you had decided in the past, I can't do this, I won't do this, it's never going to happen. And basically, this is a chance for you to give yourself a second shot, because you're different now. You have more energy, you have a different insight than you did before, and it's going to go better. And then don't forget, it's okay to ask for external resources. You're going to be able to get something if you ask for it, but you don't know it until you ask. And so some of you just need to be open to asking for it. Hey, buddy, I haven't forgotten you. Apollo wanted a little bit of airtime, and he calms me down too. It's always great to pull up Apollo for a little bit of love, and now he's cool. All right, so I believe that constitutes everything when it comes to this. Oh, one last thing as I'm looking at this. With the Two of Swords in reverse, there may be something that you overlooked or that someone else overlooked, particularly if it comes to an obligation, a contract obligation. So if there is something like that, make sure that you're doing everything you said you were going to do, okay? Because that could come back and haunt you in a way that you don't want to with the Judgment card. They'll say, wait a second, you said you were going to do this, you didn't do this. So make sure that you just are being accountable, okay? And you might need to hold someone else accountable. And this is especially true for a job where someone has promised you a raise or an increase or some sort of development and has fallen short on it several times. If it's in writing, if it's in your contract, you have something there that's going to support you and help you get what you need. Okay? Because I actually see a really favorable outcome with that. It's in writing and they have to do it. So for some of you, you didn't realize there might be a clause that helps you. So take a look at that as well. That's everything for career. Let's move on to love and relationships. This is so cool. This is really connected to what we talked about at the beginning. Let me just kind of bring up that presentation and we'll talk about it. So let's see, answering the call, accepting the call. It's really very, very close verbiage. I couldn't think of it this morning when I was doing it. So here we have it, accepting the call, and we have the Judgment card. And the interesting thing is we got what? We got the Judgment card coming through today, and it was in the environment. And now with relationships in your life, it has the higher call. So I love some synchronicity, and we got like both messages connected in this spread. So say yes to your higher calling. Someone that you love, a friend, an old coworker, someone that you trust, could have this sort of like great opportunity for you. And they are thinking of you because they know you so well. They're going to say, I can't think of anyone better for this than you because of this shared experience that we have. Do you want to do this? The card seems to think this would be an amazing opportunity. And it's if it connects to the higher calling. The most important thing is, yes, this is what I've been waiting to hear. Here's the answer. Call and answer, right? A lot of call and answer energy this month. I love the caption, be a human exclamation point. So when abundance comes knocking, you say yes, exclamation point, I am ready. Bring it on. So I think some of you could have some good news. And it could be from someone that you love or trust or know. And also for some of you, the sort of segue into whatever it is that you want to do could also be through someone that you already know in your network, okay? Really great, actually, piece of energy, and so synchronistically tied to what we talked about earlier that I'm curious to see how it manifests for some of you. Now let's look at relationships, and we'll look at this just in the context of relationships. I always like to look at 3 different levels, those of you in a relationship looking for love or single and happy. So when we look at the say yes energy, this is about affirmation and also being supportive. And also kind of like there's a rule in improv where it's like yes and, right? So someone says something crazy and you kind of go with it. You're like, all right, yes, and let's do this too. So rather than denying someone's dream or idea, start it with a yes. Yes, and let's talk more about that. That sounds exciting. I need some more information, but I'm on board. I'm excited. I'm interested. You've piqued my interest. That's going to be a lot more welcoming than pushing a no straight on. So say yes, and let's talk about this some more. I feel like your partner may need support for those of you that are already in a relationship, and they're looking for a yes. If anyone in their life they need a yes from, it's probably you, because they want to make sure that they have what it takes to climb this new hill or this mountain. Okay, let's specifically look at some of the other cards here. This is an interesting story in the center. So there can be a lot of times when I'm looking at strong relationships, this can be mother, father-in-law, like an in-law energy. It can also be a friend of your partner's coming in and deciding like they have certain thoughts. And it's kind of getting in the way of what the two of you have, which is really, really strong. So you know yourself, you know your partner, and don't let someone else's opinions come in and get in the way. Because I look at the environment and I see opinion. I look at the energy from the recent past and I see friends or third parties, and it's just not their business. At the end of the day, they don't know you and they don't know your partner. So it may get under your skin, but remember that you know and you love each other, and so you're going to just ignore the third party or dismiss the third party or put them in their place, because it frankly isn't any of their business. Some of them are getting in your financial business, which is kind of curious. This especially can be mom and dad. And honestly, if you're taking care of yourself and everything's okay, you could just say, thanks for your lens and your opinion, but I'm fine. You can't be too sassy sometimes with the parents. Just say, I'm good. Let's change the topic, because you really don't want to burn a bridge, and you know that, they are your parents and you have to respect them, but they don't know what's going on, and they don't always know. At some point, actually, your parents don't always know what's best. When you become a full-grown adult, you are on an equal footing at some point. Have you ever had that moment in your life where maybe you're in your 20s or 30s and you look back and you think, I'm now the age that I was when my parents had me? And you think to yourself, I thought they had it together, but they were faking things. They didn't have everything together. They were still a work in progress. And you start to realize that you're just as competent and equal and capable of doing things now as they were, and you're going to be okay. And there comes a point in your life where they're not there. That's the case for me. And I miss them and I respect them, and I also forgive them for any of their imperfections, because we're all just human after all, right? So let it go and move on to the next topic, which is what we're going to do here. Let me see what else here. Some of you want to know what's next. There could be like the 7-year itch. You've been together for a while and you're wondering like, what's next? So this is a little bit of impatience in an existing relationship, a need to kind of reignite passion, intimacy, and excitement, because the 3 of Cups is all of that, so is the 9 of Cups. So this is a time to spend some time nurturing, exploring, and being more playful with your partner. It could also be, let's say you're kind of over that phase. Maybe this is also about exploring, traveling, trying some new things, but there needs to be some change and some movement, because it feels like there could have been some stagnation. And some of you are wondering, is this who I want to be with in the long run? I do get favorable cards for near future and outcome. So it feels like it's more of a boredom thing or a lack of investment thing. And so it's more about investing and then listening to one another's needs and desires, which is a part of partnership, right? By and large, it looks manageable, okay? But there is some sort of things that both of you are dealing with right now, so just be there for one another. Looking at those that are seeking out love, the universe has some surprises up its sleeve for you. The answer is yes. I see this is a great month. Yes, with an exclamation point. Like we literally got yes here. And then we have the exclamation point. I'm saying it, but it's here. We've got the Three of Cups and the Two of Cups here. And we have a past life connection. So for some of you, you've been waiting for a while. As long as you've done the work on yourself and as long as you're ready and willing to receive love and not second guess it, yeah, I see a really good chance of it coming through. And it looks like it's probably an earth sign based on the King of Pentacles at the center. That being said, I don't think you can plan it. We have the Two of Swords, which is a surprise. And the reverse of it is something that you didn't see coming. It's a happy surprise. You're going to be okay with it when it comes across. So say yes to social engagements. It could even happen at the grocery store, the hardware store, whatever. I feel like just while you're out and about and you're in a positive state, it's very important that you're having fun. This is laughter and joy. This is laughter and joy. So you in your highest state, bring in the energy. Someone sees you. And there is past life or past, could be from, the past as well. But I typically read judgment as past life, not just the past. But don't sort of limit yourself, because this is a card that shows like coming out of things in a different light. It's a reincarnation card. So you're not the same and you're not limited to just one way or one type of person. Lots of openings for you this month, okay? The other person may come in and start the conversation, but don't be afraid to be the initiator here either. I see mutual interest here, okay? So good month to meet people, to mix and to mingle, but you should be laughing and happy and sort of doing something that you love, and you can't plan it. For those of you that are single and happy, nothing negative this month, no matter what your relationship status is. There could be unexpected business openings and opportunities. There could be positivity in partnership. I said that this could get you to your goals faster. So I know that many of you are independent, but there's someone here that could help you see it from a different perspective. If you want that. If you don't want that, you don't need to have that. But there is, if you want to say a shortcut, there's a shortcut coming through with a partnership opportunity. By and large, it's great. A great month to get out there. Very social energy, bookmarking the center cards. And also connecting to prosperity. So this is a great month for networking, for business and partnerships and money and loans. All of that is good if you're single, happy, and an entrepreneur, okay? Let's go to your destiny card here. Destiny is malleable, but it is our trajectory, so I like to see where it's kind of heading us. The card is reversed, and this kind of is in alignment with the center card. It says drop into your heart. So the card is reversed, which is saying I'm having a hard time, or you're having a hard time, just going with it, going with the flow. And that's what the center card wants you to do as well. Just let your heart be free, let go of this sort of external peer pressure, look at the positive, see this as a new start, souls rising from the dead. This is a chance to reinvent yourself. And as long as you are working your passion, then you are working in the right direction, okay? Good. You could also, with the drop in your heart, there are moments in our life, well, at least I can think of my life, where it's like your heart skips a beat. Or if you are just about to do something that you don't want to do, you can feel your heart sinking. Listen to the heart. It's your compass. If it's beating, if it's jumping out, if it's saying go for it, go for it. If you feel like the bottom's like falling out and your heart's going through it, you don't want to do that, okay? Your heart knows long before your head does. Let's now take a look at the big idea for this month. The big idea is something that can help us, sort of as like a north star, a shining star, to help us get through and do the right thing. We have one of the best cards for management, for control, for manifestation. It's the King of Wands. King of Wands and Queen of Wands are always welcome in my deck. We have this beautiful panther right by him, so he's pulling in that energy that we would normally see in the Queen with like the black cat. So what does this represent? Power, speed, magic, and manifestation. That's why I like wands so much. And it's also ingenuity, engineering, basically thinking yourself out of any situation. So the thing that the universe kind of wants you to know most right now is there's always a solution. There's always another way. You're not stuck. And you may need to do it yourself to do it right. Sometimes that is true. The King of Wands can manage it. He is the ultimate boss card. So you can manage it. You will do this. You are okay. Let's move on to blessings and blocks. Blessings and blocks help us. The blessings and the blocks could be things that we want to just be mindful of so that something doesn't get in the way. We'll pull both of them at once and then break down the messages. Blessing, what a blessing. The Supreme card is an extra card in this deck. It's beyond the world. And the block, Four of Pentacles, which I saw here with the deer earlier. So this is all in alignment. Lots of synchronicities with today's reading, which I love. Let's start with the Supreme card. Look at how cool this is. We basically see all the elements. This is like the magician taken through the universe and back again, because we see wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. We see the Wheel of Fortune or time all around her. We have the High Priestess energy with this as well, and she's like levitating in the middle of all of this. So this is saying, I'm rising above the challenges of the past. I'm rising above the lower frequencies in the conversation or the situation. I've learned all of that and then some. And this time around, I'm not just becoming the fool, the magician, and the high priestess again. I'm coming through like with this supreme energy of this is going to happen. So there's, I would say the best thing that you can do right now is to have a sort of absolute clarity on something that you want. The more you really firmly connect to that, the more likely it is it's going to happen. So before you have a key conversation trying to get buy-in on something, before you decide to throw out a resume for consideration or an application for a house or whatever, I want you to sit for a moment and think, I opened this door. I'm ready for this opportunity, and I'm the right one at the right time. So all I have to do now is to kind of like put that offer out there, that last thing. And this is not me asking, this is me saying. It's a statement, not a request. I am ready. Period. Full stop. And that's going to help you manifest faster. It won't necessarily make everything happen at once, but it's going to make you a lot more effective at your manifestation. And things that are meant to happen, they'll happen. Okay? We can see her third eye wide open on this as well. So pay attention to what Spirit is bringing forth in dreams, thoughts, and meditations as well. The only block this month is limitations in thoughts particularly. This is as good as it gets. If I let go of this, what will happen? Basically thinking that you've reached the top. So imagine that tomorrow the patent office closed or the schools closed because they said we've learned everything that there is to learn. Scientists stopped exploring things and said all the mysteries of space and time and the universe have been learned. That's not the case. We know that. And we have to keep asking questions and thinking there could be more. What if this happens? What if that happens? So think more broadly, paint more broadly, and know that you've got the foundations. This is the beginning, not the end. So as long as you think of it in that fashion, it's an opening. If you think that this is all I've got, then the Four of Pentacles limits you to that. The other limit is, because this did come through in blocks, there could be someone in your life that isn't willing to give you what you deserve, isn't willing to give more, or isn't ready to share. This is a secrecy card. It's about keeping things close and not sharing with everyone. And so there could be someone in your life that just isn't ready to let you in. And that's okay. You've got a lot of other energy this month that's more receptive. So focus on the receptive energy, not the restrictive energy. Okay? Let's move on to the viewers and readers' choices. Let me take another drink here and we'll take a look at the cards and see what messages are coming through. So I'm going to give you a chance here to vote in a moment once I've selected some things, and then I'll choose some cards as well. Okay, so, I mentioned the whole answering the call. So let's look at judgment a little bit more. So what's the big opportunity? And I'm going to put in parentheses the call. Okay, so for those of us that are trying to understand what the universe wants us to pay attention to, option 1 will be about that. I'm going to, as a reader, look at emotional stuff because it's important, so I'm going to take that off the plate. Let's take a look at being decisive, figuring out which way to go. And then let's see here. Well, of course, we got to look at love for some of us. So love, relationships, and partnerships. There you go. So I just put those out to vote on. I did a partnership reading last week. If that's something you guys would like to see kind of semi-regularly, I can do a single card pull on that once a week to check in on partnerships. Might be something that's worth exploring. I'm trying new things in my new space. All right, now as a reader, I want to look at how to help you manage these highs and lows. So what's going on with emotions? That's my reader's choice question. So let's give the cards a shuffle and see. Thank you so much for those of you that have given back with super stickers or super chat. I'll say thank you later. All right, so let's take a look here at what came through. We have the Goddess of Pentacles and we have the God of Pentacles at the center. So one of the things that's causing an imbalance for some of you, like I said, this can actually be parental energy. So this can be mom and dad. This can also be for some of you, it can just be this sort of ability for you to take care of yourself. And it's hard sometimes to give yourself permission to do that, especially if we had not the greatest role models, right? So maybe if we are looking at parents in the past, they worked a lot, or they weren't really mindful of their health, or they just weren't present as present as they needed to be. This is saying, in this moment in time, the best thing that I can do for my emotional well-being is to slow down and to take care of myself. Look at the little bunny rabbit in the background, right? So we see abundance coming through, but the first step to that abundance is self-care. So a lot of times when we get a night card, typically, not so much a page, but a night card, I would say slow the pace and get the direction right. You did get a page though, so for this one it's saying listen to your heart, listen to the messages coming from the heart, and make some decisions based on what your heart is telling you. And then based on that, make some changes in your life to create more support, especially, like I said, if there's people that just don't have the capacity to do what they need to do. You're going to learn and create better habits in your life. We're never too old to create or to learn those habits, and that's what I was getting with that. Okay, so let's take a look at what you are voting for. Resounding. Ridiculous amount. I think it's like, what's the big opportunity? What's the call? So we're looking at judgment, what the universe is saying. Hey, this is what we need you to focus on. So no pressure. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see the message. Okay, we have the Eight of Wands. Interesting card to come through for this. All right, let me just pull the camera up here. Eight of Wands in reverse. So the Eight of Wands is typically one of the best cards you can pull when it comes to career and just general productivity. It means that you have momentum, you have predictability and schedule, that things are going, and they're going along at a rapid clip. The reversal of this is saying, my purpose, because we're looking at purpose, is not to do what the status quo is. I am a disruptor. I am a change person. I am someone who needs to maybe go in the opposite direction or in a right angle to what everyone else is doing. And then that creates friction because people are going to butt up against you as you're going in this other direction. So you're meant to slow down for a little bit and do something different. That means that in slowing down, because everyone else is going fast and you're in the middle of this, if you slow down for the short term, that means that someone else may get a higher title further along in their career, married, have children, buy a house, etc., etc., etc. All these sort of checklist things that we look at as arbitrary milestones for success. They don't necessarily constitute success, but we look at those as things that we want. But what are you doing? You're focusing on building something important. And that foundation could be rich, could be actually so rich that in the long run you make up for lost time. Look at the Supreme. She's not bothered by time. Time is a construct. She realizes that. We can catch up later. So what's most important is in this moment in time, the Supreme Being here is connecting with her purpose and saying, all right, well, maybe everyone else is doing this, but I want to have a kid. Or maybe everyone else is doing this, but I want to go back to school. Or I want to start this business. Or I want to move to another country. Or I want to learn a different language. All of these things are going to take time out of the sort of thing that has this race, this rat race that's going on around me. And that means that in comparison, I won't be at the same level. But I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to be progressing, and at some point, all of this may actually give me the passion, the momentum, the satisfaction, the fulfillment, the ease with which to make up for any quote-unquote lost time. So you're supposed to deviate from the path. And it's going to be frustrating potentially for some of you if you care a lot about where other people are at. But in the long run, it's not going to matter because, again, happiness and time have a way of working things out. You'll be able to make up for it, or you won't be upset. You'll think that was time well spent. Because the worst thing that could happen is regret. Not the worst, but a less favorable thing that could happen is regret. Looking back and thinking, I wish I would have just taken that turn. I wish I would have tried that. It would have given me new opportunities. So in this moment in time, to kind of make it something that you can easily wrap your head around, you're going to be given an opportunity that there's going to be a trade-off for some of you. And you know it's the right thing, but when you're looking at competitively speaking, it may not look as good on paper. But in your heart and in your long-term 3, 5, 10-year life goal plan, it's going to make a lot of sense. Speaking to someone that went through that, that's what I did when I ejected myself from a corporate environment. And it didn't make a lot of sense at the beginning. And on some levels, I was following almost like instinct. It wasn't even intuition. It was like, I have to survive. I must not be here anymore. And then intuition came in and said, do this instead. I didn't necessarily see everything at that point, but instinct and intuition came together to say, you must move here, it'll be okay. And that's all I needed to know. And then everything ultimately worked out. Same thing happened with my recent move. There comes a point sometimes where I just realize, this is it, I gotta go. And even if everything hasn't been lined up, we have to do it. So don't be afraid to do it. If your instinct and intuition are coming together and lining up something, it's okay. It'll be okay. All right? So your call is an unusual one, and it could require a little bit of an adjustment, and you may lose time initially, but then gain it eventually. And that's the message. Let's now transition into sun, rising, and moon messages. As I said earlier, you can always use this for any aspect of your chart, but I like to give this special fine-tuning portion for those of you that are specifically watching for sun, rising, and moon. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through. Sun, rising, wow. Moon. Big shifts coming through for you this month, Cancer. Gigantic shifts. Okay, let's begin with sun messages. You got the King of Cups, or the God of Cups in this particular deck. Love, creativity, opportunity to step into your power. It's a great month, and it's also you, Cancer. So this is a good month. King of Cups energy coming through. You're shining. People are drawn to you. You're also, some of you, pulling in a very similar sort of energy, like attracts like anyway. So this is indicating that this is a great time for you to go out there and manifest, okay? It's all about empowerment. We do have Poseidon here, or the trident from Poseidon anyway. So for some of you, managing your emotions, this is a common theme for the whole spread this month, but managing your emotions is going to be really important, and not hiding from them. And if you can at all leverage and use them to your benefit, that's going to be key. When you think of really impactful speakers, they put a lot of heart and soul into what they're doing, and it's engaging. Same thing with a musician that interprets lyrics in a certain way. You can just tell they feel what they're singing versus they're a vocalist that's skilled, that hits the notes. I'd rather get the singer that really feels it and it's gritty and it's real versus the perfect pitch, right? So you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be really authentic and connected in your communications, and that's going to make you amazingly relatable and powerful this month, okay? So that's my message for you, is to don't hide who you are, don't worry about being perfect, lean into all of that and get people drawn in by your passion, by your sort of purpose and all of that. And yes, if you're looking for love and relationships, the King of Cups is one of the best cards that could come through, in addition to the Three of Cups and the Two of Cups that we already got, okay? It's a good month for Cancer Sun. All right, let's go ahead and move now to Cancer Rising or Ascendant. Also a great month for you. We have another King card, the King of Swords. So this is about getting it done. Walking the walk and talking the talk, and also for some of you, putting things out there for others to consume. This could be public speaking, curriculum, writing, also maybe giving some sort of a seminar or something like that. There's a lot of active energy with this, and I like that, and it's transformative. We can see all those little butterflies in the background. So your words carry a lot of weight. Your communication has a lot of positive energy with it. And the other thing here is being able to be precise, concise, and actually acting quickly as well. There's a faster energy that I'm seeing with Rising and Ascendant this month compared to the other two aspects. This is good for professional energy. Really, I'm happy you got King of Swords, and I'm also happy that this is coming through in the Rising and Ascendant. Couldn't ask for a better card to come through this month for you. A lot of what I said for the Sun also carries through with this, which is the authenticity, the energy that you put into your communications. They're all there. Leadership, by the way, for both the Sun and the Rising, off the charts. So you're really being set up to lead and to step into the spotlight. Let's look at Moon. I'll take the Devil reverse because it is about unshackling and freeing oneself. So that's what we're looking at this month. No longer seeing the same limitations that used to be there, letting go of toxic relationships, seeing yourself as being worthy, really focusing on self-worth. And in this card, there's always I love a Devil card where there's a door. So we see a door on the horizon. Actually, this one shows a tombstone here. So this is saying goodbye to the past, but that's also a portal. In some of the Devil cards, you'll see a choice between light and dark, a portal that lets you step through and walk away from this. You'll see shackles. We see the shackles here in the form of chains around this person. So what you're going to do and what you need to focus on this month is saying, the limits that once existed no longer hold me back. I'm ready to free myself of anything. For some of you, it could also be addictions or any sort of emotional things that are going on, and just saying I don't need this anymore. This is part of my past. I'm focusing instead on what I can control, who is open and receptive to me, and I'm letting go of this other stuff. So you know for each of you what the Devil represents. A limit, a thought, a situation that isn't healthy, and you're just going to walk away from it. And because it's reversed, it means that you're done. You're finished with this, and the Judgment card is saying a new beginning. The only way you can get through Devil energy is when you accept that you played a part in that, or that the person represents or mirrors something that you need to work on, and that you're done with that. So I feel like you really are ready, many of you. And you have to be at that point where you think, no more. And it's an internal choice. The other thing is you might just be surprised at what comes your way, and the Devil represents fears. Can I do this? Will I be okay? It's imposter syndrome. You're okay. Don't let the devil energy come through. Instead say, no, I've got this. I'm good. I'm okay. Your love situation, for those of you that are entering into something new, it's not a repeat of the past, and you're going to choose not to repeat the past. You're seeking out someone who is available, who is accessible, who is communicative, who is transparent, and who is trustworthy. If they fail on any of those levels, you're going to walk away. But the truth of the matter is the cards seem pretty good. So some of you may just be fearing that there's a repeat from the past, but the Judgment card in and of itself says, no, we're not going to do that again. We learned from the past. Okay? Very powerful reading for you today overall. I like what I see. I think that every aspect of the chart has something beautiful to learn or to bring forward, so it should be a great month for you. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, we're not done yet. We have one more part, but just a reminder to hit that subscribe button. Once I get up to 325,000, I will do a special Q&A, so can't wait to do that. Join me on social media, please, and make sure that you're looking at my name. I'll never have a number after my name. I don't have backup accounts. I'm not going to send DMs or offer you anything or send out a friend invite. Those are clear signs that it's an imposter. Let me know who it is, block them, report them, help me out with that. And if you'd also like to show love and support, you can do that through Super Chat, Super Sticker, or membership here. All right, let's get ready for your meditation. There's three parts to this. We're gonna meditate, I'll play the singing bowl, and then after that, you have a chance to ask one final question, because I do my best to look at every particular part of the month ahead, but there's always one thing that we're looking at specific to us. So scribble that down or keep it in your head or tap it in your phone, and after the meditation, I'll have a chance to look at it. Looking at the cards in front of us, I'm really drawn to I'm always, when I look at this deck, drawn to the Judgment card, and also to this sort of beautiful pyramid and diamond. So let's imagine ourselves walking up that cosmic gateway towards the light, and allowing ourselves to see ourselves in a new light, to let go of anything from the past that no longer serves us. All right, so let's meditate together. Close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, let go of anything that you might be holding on to in your neck, your shoulders, or your back. If you need to, you can gently move your neck from side to side. You can also move it in a circle if you have the flexibility. And just allow your breath and your thoughts to come to a nice and calm center point. Imagine yourself looking at this stairwell that we saw here in the Judgment card, and there's a brilliant light at the top. It's warm, it's welcoming, it's bright. Golden rays of light are reaching out, touching your heart space. And as they do that, you feel that anything within you that was saying, I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, it just melts away. There's no place for fear here in this Judgment card. Instead, you are listening to your higher self, which says, you know what to do. You're listening to your guides, which are showing you a map, showing you a path. You're listening to God or the divine or whatever you want to call that creative force, which today and always you are co-creating with. And it is saying, I've got your back. Are you ready? And all you have to do is jubilantly say, yes, I'm ready to receive. And the minute you say yes, one of those rays of light it's almost like a tractor beam. It becomes so strong, so bright, so large that you feel yourself being guided towards it. And all you need to do now is allow yourself to surrender to this higher calling. For each of you, that is going to be something a little different, but just allow it to start to take form and to take shape. And I will play the singing bowl as you visualize on this future you, and just relax. Allow your heart to beat freely. Allow your energy to return to your body. If you need to come back into your mind, into your body as well, you can take your hands, rub them together, feel the warmth, the light, the energy that always exists within. Place one on top of the other in the heart space. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths at your own pace, and on the last exhale, open your eyes. All right. Welcome back, everybody. If you haven't already opened your eyes, let this be your final breath. Open your eyes and now return your attention to whatever it is that you might have written down, whatever question might be still present in your mind. And I want you to focus on that. Don't type it out. Don't do anything with it yet. Just kind of focus on it and see now what the cards have to say as we shuffle and listen to the higher calling of the universe in this moment in time. Okay, so let's talk about what we have here, which is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups came through reversed. So for many of you, there is an opportunity in this moment in time to shift your perspective a little bit, to decide, you know what, it's really important for me to do this, even if like we talked about comparing and contrasting, there's a time and a place for it. You don't need that anymore. If you can kind of tune in, not just kind of, if you tune in and listen to what the universe is bringing you, then without a doubt, and hopefully without a shout, you're going to be able to really see something that you couldn't see otherwise. Like, this is it. So I feel like there's a hidden ace, there's a hidden opportunity waiting for you, but the noise of your friends, the noise of LinkedIn or the social networks out there, the noise of what the world wants or expects you to do could be stepping in and marring that a little bit and making you think, is it really right? Should I do that? Isn't me? So trust in that. A big message today was the higher calling. So trust in the higher calling and know that that's okay. And then gratitude is always the best way to neutralize this card. So thinking to yourself, I am grateful for all the twists and turns, however difficult or tumultuous they may have been, because today I'm wiser, today I'm smarter, and tomorrow I'm not going to repeat those mistakes. This is especially true for those of you that have this in your moon sign, Cancer moon. So for many of you, you're saying, I've learned from the past and I'm stronger now, and I wouldn't trade the lessons because I don't have to repeat anymore. So that is my advice when I'm looking at this. As a yes, no, it's telling me you're missing something. It's saying, look a little closer. Don't say yes just yet. Don't say yes because you're pushed to say yes. Don't say yes because you think there's no other choice. Say yes because you want to. So the yes, no is a little complicated. It's saying you're asking for the wrong reason or you're a little distracted. The other thing that I would say with this is just to really tune in. That's the most important thing you could do, is tune in and think, why am I even asking the question? Because some of you already know what you need to do, and it's going to be fine, okay? So trust in your intuition, trust in the timing. Don't focus so much on other people. Be grateful for all that's in front of you and be open to receive more. The openness is also, even though it's not the final card, it is the first card. And I would say the important thing with this card in reverse, look at how surprised she looked at that little fish, little koi fish coming out of there. It's sort of like, don't be surprised. You earned this moment. You've got this. So that's my final word as well from Spirit, is you've got this and you deserve this and it's going to be okay. Alrighty? So thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed and supported this channel, who has followed me elsewhere, and especially for those who've given back today. Quick schedule note, I did put the next 2 videos up for Thursday and Friday, so you can set reminders for those, and I am going to try to get my schedule up sometime this week, but I'll always make sure that the next couple of videos are up on the main page so you can see them. Okay, with that being said, let's spend a little bit of time now giving some gratitude for those who did share some love and support today. I do appreciate it. Special shout out to all of you that have been with me for 7 or 8 years. I appreciate that more than you know. Actually, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without you. All right, so let's take a look at First things first, if anyone became a member today, I'm going to just say thank you. I know we had a bunch of them yesterday, so I might have a hard time discerning the difference, but yeah, I can see it here. It looks like it might have been Karen Adams or Jamie Shelter, because I think everyone else was a member yesterday. Maybe April Golowick, but I remember Jules July Alchemy from yesterday. So Jamie, Karen, and April, thank you for joining. It's good to have you a part of this family. Like I said, I should have a Q&A coming up soon, and more perks on the way, so thank you so much. For those who gave super stickers or super chat, I just want to say thank you right now, so give me a moment. Kicking things off today, we have Archangel, I appreciate you. Dolce Ramirez Daily, thank you. Lucy, Isha Marie, good to see you again. Sherry Wolf, Rachel Bruno, Jules in July, cute little black cat, thanks. And Sherry Wolf again. Good to have all of you here today. And Sherry Wolf again, I thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. I really enjoyed being in the new space. It's allowed me to just relax and open up as a channel. So I feel every single reading since I've moved has benefited from that. So yay to changes and yay to new beginnings. And little Apollo couldn't have been happier. He's chilling out in front of the AC right now, loving it. So thank you all so much. Lots of love and light to you. Again, I'll be back later this week for additional readings. A reminder that I'm also live every weekend. The readings that are coming up on Thursday and Friday are Leo and Virgo. That'll be Thursday and Friday respectively. Collective reading will be on Sunday. And I've been throwing some impromptus out, so maybe there'll be an impromptu this week. And I'm re-entering the dailies. So I'm going to catch up and I'll do the one for today, and I'm going to try to get us ahead for tomorrow. So keep an eye out, subscribe if you haven't, and in the meantime, lots of love and light. Take care, everybody, and have a fantastic day and month ahead.